Greetings, folks. 3course thoughts here. So last time I gave you a video on the men and their struggles. Ladies, this one is for you. And also men are curious about modern day women struggles. So to get started, in most societies, women have had a long history of being subordinates to men. This has come with varying degrees of success, failure, causes of concern. So in history, this ranged from women dealing with leaders who sometimes made sound judgments and took responsibility, to also tyrants who abuse their authority and averted responsibility. So now we're transitioning in the modern era that we're in now, and massive changes are taking place. And this started long ago on behalf of women and their subordination, suffrage, and women's rights and such. These changes are something that women are still probably facing from day to day. This is a transition period. So with these changes came some struggles on behalf of the woman. So before you guys go in the comment section and say, I know, patriarchy, that's what it is. Well, that's not what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So the first struggle that modern women are facing today, one of the many things that they may be facing, is that of keeping up with the Joneses. So social unity is one of the fundamental building blocks of society, and oftentimes is used to make an alliance to avoid conflict, and in doing so we can form lasting bonds. This is something that, generally speaking, women specialize in: girlfriends, tight-knit circle, all these kinds of things. However, it can evolve, or rather devolve, into something where you're just performing actions or going through emotions because everyone else is doing it. So that means that you're not necessarily, there may not be a thought behind the action. It's just, oh, my friends are getting married, I should get married too. My friends like this particular guy or girl, I should do that too. Or this thing is trending, oh, that's cool, so I should like it too. I recommend caution with that. The second struggle I'm going to highlight is that of male attention. Now ladies, I understand that you're probably going to say, hey, I have tons of guys coming after me. And that might be true to varying degrees of success. However, I'm talking about the upper echelon, the ones that you probably really want, you know? Keep in mind, a struggle that is usually experienced with modern women is that there are many women for a limited pool of these gentlemen. Now, I'm not saying that you go after someone that you're not attracted to. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm just highlighting that as a potential problem where the two frames competing, where females usually want the male to commit and the men want to not commit and have as many women optionality as possible available to them. So if they have tons of attention and if they're able to garner all that attention, it works out in their favor and it's usually exploited. Now, a third struggle that modern women are facing is that of female attention. This is on the opposite end. Usually, this is more on a competition scale. It's linked to keeping up with the Joneses, but this one's a little different in terms of a low-key flex. Like if I have a particular item, significant other, milestone in life, I indirectly flaunted, shown off. It's like a version of social proof, which is basically show and don't tell, humble brag, things of that nature. And the female competition is really a shame because at times it can affect their confidence levels, and it's coming from someone of a similar gender, and it's quite different to that of men. Usually if we get someone competing with us or challenging us, usually we're not necessarily discouraged. We're more like, yo, I proved that person wrong, I got you. On that note, the next struggle I'm going to highlight is that of powerlessness and vulnerability. Now this one, ladies, is going to sound like a shock, but this one overall hasn't changed at its fundamental core. Here's what I mean by that. Oftentimes, you're going to find that only those that take on responsibility are for the extra liberties. And this is to be expected, as freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. This means that those that lack responsibility also lack a degree of freedom, however slight it might be. And unfortunately, no social contract or legislation can change that fact. So that's a low-key struggle. Actually, all the struggles are low-key, and it's not obvious. All right, ladies, I want you to comment any struggles that you may be facing in particular, that you feel may be a problem that you experience or your friends may be experiencing in this modern age. And also like and share the video. So, moving on. The next struggle I'd like to discuss is that of not being taken seriously or disrespect. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the comment section typing, oh man, he gets it. Yeah, and it's put on the timestamp. Now, I'm going to highlight this. So, not being seen or heard can be emotionally and psychologically damaging. No denying that. However, being viewed as a joke can be a sentiment just as, if not more, disheartening, particularly if it is unwarranted. So this means if you're accomplished or you actually know you're intelligent or you know what you're talking about in a particular field, you have a particular interest or talent, it's not fun not being taken seriously because, oh, you're not a man or something like that. So imagine being denied opportunities that you actually earned or it's actually warranted accomplishments being disregarded just because of your gender or some other arbitrary factor. So that's a real struggle. That's probably the most obvious out of all the ones that I discussed. Now, I spent a lot of this time in this video talking about struggles. I have a few potential suggestions as well to help mitigate some of these struggles. So the first solution I would suggest, ladies, is expressing sound judgment to the best of your ability as soon as you can and as frequent as you can. So when I say sound judgment, I mean a ratio of practicality and your feelings. So both carry weight. Listen, ladies, your decisions have great weight, especially when you're younger. Okay, so a second solution I would suggest is that of accountability. The times are changing. Gone are the days where you can just blame men for everything and it just goes by. I mean, the social narrative does support it, but it's going to be a problem for interpersonal relationships. Trust me. So when I say accountability, what I basically mean is if you made a choice and it didn't go well, you made the choice, you decided something, own up to it because you made the choice, and that comes along with greater freedom, something that your ancestors fought for. So if not for yourself or the honor of what freedom entails, at least do it for the people who fought for it. So a third solution I'd like to suggest is similar to the one that's expressed for the men, is that of community. I can't stress this enough. Community is your backbone, your lifeblood. When you get hit down, helps you maintain and rise back up. So seek a mentor, people that have your best interests at heart. Support group, the group of girlfriends that's not necessarily per se clubbing or doing the cool stuff, but people that have similar interests to you. Hopefully it's positive, but and also counseling. A fourth solution I would suggest is that of self-reflection. So self-reflection for the degree of clarity. You can do this via journaling, vlog, where you can hear your voice, and that's how it sounded 20 years ago or 5 years ago. Counselor again, and meditation. Meditation's big. And the final solution I would suggest is acknowledging this is a modern day. Things are not going backwards. They're going to only go forwards. It's a transition period for both men and women. So I recommend, on top of acknowledging this is a modern day, learn to be still and move. It's the same thing I suggested from the men in my previous video. Being still is more of a feminine trait, usually commonly associated with femininity, and moving is more associated with masculinity and making things happen. However, if you combine both, you can gain perspective from masculinity to learn how difficult it is, how you can also be a better woman and better person, and vice versa. It's not just for the woman to do, it's also for the men to do. You can learn things from the opposite side if you allow it to come in. With that, that's all I have for you for today. So, folks, ladies, take care. Remember to reflect, make a framework, take action. All right, take care. Till the next video.